Welcome to A Journey in Song, where we look at the life and creative mind of Manda Menzies. She is a South African author, poet, lyricist, and storyteller. We're here to explore how she uses poetry and music to record her life experience, the raw feelings and thoughts she has transposed into song. In this episode, we are going to dive into the lyrics of Bugger That, written by Manda Menzies. You can listen to the full composition on Manda's YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine realizing that the very trait you've been praised for your entire life, like your ability to just grit your teeth and silently endure pain, is actually the exact thing that's destroying you.
Wow, yeah, that's heavy.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
And that is the tension we are unpacking today for you, because our mission here is to explore what we can basically call the anatomy of a feeling.
I love that phrase.
Thanks. Yeah, it really fits. We're going to look very closely at how Manda takes a raw, oppressive psychological state, that really heavy, suffocating feeling we all get when the world demands way too much of us.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
Exactly. And we'll see how she uses the literal architecture of a song to achieve emotional regulation. So for you listening, we are basically observing how an artist successfully closes an emotional episode.
It is such a striking premise for a song, honestly, because when you sit down and actually read the lyrics to Bugger That, you immediately realize this isn't just some catchy tune with a fun title.
Definitely not.
It's a real-time documentation of a mental wrestling match. It starts right at the genesis of an emotion. Manda is reacting to a specific philosophical prompt she encountered somewhere, and the prompt is simply, what we can endure, endures.
It's one of those phrases that sounds deeply profound at first glance, isn't it?
It really does.
It carries this very stoic, almost Spartan weight to it. Like, it implies that survival itself is the ultimate virtue.
Yes. It sounds exactly like something you'd see, I don't know, printed in bold font over a picture of a solitary mountain peak on a motivational poster or something.
100%.
But instead of blindly internalizing that stoicism, Manda's reaction to it is incredibly physical. She writes, I tasted this thought, rolled it around on my tongue. It was bitter, sharp, and gone.
Yeah, that imagery is just brilliant.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the imagery here is so wonderfully visceral,
Yeah.
I picture this mental process like accidentally eating expired or toxic food.
That is a highly accurate way to visualize it, actually.
Right, like when you put something spoiled in your mouth, you don't politely chew it and force yourself to swallow just because society tells you it's a delicacy.
No, your body won't let you.
Exactly. Your body viscerally, instantly rejects it. It tastes sharp, it tastes bitter, so your immediate biological response is just to get it out. You spit it out, you rinse your mouth.
Yeah.
She treats this abstract societal pressure, this mandate, that we must simply endure things like a piece of rotten fruit.
What's fascinating here is the psychological mechanics of that specific lyric. They are what really elevate the song. Well, in traditional therapy, the goal is often to change the content of your thoughts.
Right.
Right? Like to replace a negative thought with a positive one.
Right, the whole positive affirmations thing.
Yeah, exactly. But in acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, there's this core concept called cognitive diffusion. Usually, human beings are completely fused with our thoughts. If we think, I am trapped in this situation, we just feel trapped. The thought and our reality are one and the same.
Oh, I see. It's the difference between looking at a pair of sunglasses versus looking through them. Like when you're fused, the thought is the lens coloring your whole world.
That's a perfect analogy.
And so diffusion is taking the glasses off and just holding them in your hand.
Precisely. You stop looking from the thought and you start looking at it. And here, Manda is practicing diffusion beautifully.
Because she puts the thought on her tongue.
Right. She takes this abstract, heavy, subjective pressure, the idea that she must endure whatever life throws at her, and turns it into an objective physical thing, something small enough to just sit on her tongue.
By doing that, she totally takes away its atmospheric power. It's no longer this massive, invisible gravity pressing down on her shoulders. It's just a bitter little object she can independently evaluate.
And that is her very first step toward emotional balance. She externalizes the feeling to create distance.
Right, because distance gives you perspective.
Exactly. Once you have distance from a thought, you finally have a choice in how you respond to it.
And when she creates that distance, she makes her choice pretty clear. She literally says aloud, bugger that.
She does.
She spits the thought out. But if she has successfully externalized that thought and rejected it, we naturally have to look at the why. Like, why does the concept of endurance taste so bitter to her in the first place?
Well, to answer that, she starts to really map out her internal landscape for us. She writes about the grim reality of what endurance actually looks like in practice, stripped of all its romanticized stoicism.
Yes, she describes life as a potential chain of challenge after challenge, holding me down or dragging me back. And then she reflects on her own past, writing, I used to do that, and where did that get me?
It's a really stark realization.
It is. But I actually want to push back on this a little bit, or at least play devil's advocate based on how, most of us are raised.
Okay, go for it.
Because isn't endurance usually praised as a virtue? I mean, we celebrate resilience relentlessly. We tell people to grit their teeth, pull themselves up by their bootstraps, and push through the pain.
Oh, absolutely we do.
So why is Manda viewing endurance as a chain dragging her backwards instead of a badge of honor?
That pivot is the crucial heartbeat of the entire piece, I think.
Yeah.
And it speaks deeply to the vulnerability of the human experience. You are entirely right. We do glorify endurance.
We really do. We make movies about it.
Yeah, we hand out cultural awards for how much pain someone can silently tolerate. But if we look at the neurological and psychological toll of chronic endurance, it is absolutely devastating.
You're talking about allostatic load, right?
Right.
The physiological wear and tear on the body from chronic, unending stress.
Exactly. That's exactly it. When you are just enduring, just surviving challenge after challenge without relief and without actively choosing your direction, your nervous system remains stuck in a constant state of defense.
Just constantly bracing for impact.
Right. Your fight or flight response is perpetually humming in the background. Think about your own life for a moment, and I mean this for the listener too. How many situations are you currently sitting in, doing nothing but absorbing shock, believing you are simply being strong?
Wow, yeah. It's a profound question, because being the ultimate shock absorber doesn't actually move you forward.
Not at all.
It just keeps you locked in place, bracing for the next hit.
Manda is recognizing a brilliant truth here. A life defined solely by what you can endure is stagnation. It is not living. It is literally just avoiding destruction.
That makes so much sense.
Endurance, in this context, is a passive state. It is letting the world happen to you, letting the weight sit on your shoulders, and spending all your energy just trying not to collapse under it.
Ah, I see. So when she says, I used to do that, and where did that get me? She's realizing the futility of that posture.
Exactly.
It's a complete paradigm shift. She is refusing to let her capacity for pain dictate the boundaries of her life.
But here's the thing. Refusing to let pain dictate your boundaries is a powerful conceptual realization, sure. But actively dismantling its power over you is the actual work.
Yes, and Amanda does this through literal linguistic deconstruction. Here's where it gets really interesting.
I love this part.
It's so clever. She looks at the word endure itself and writes, there is an end to endure, and it sits right at the front. If the end is in the front, then the beginning must be at the back. She concludes this whole mental exercise by saying, let me reconstruct that.
It is a wonderful application of logic to diffuse an emotional threat.
It really is. It reminds me of, imagine realizing a terrifying ransom note was just cut out of a comedy magazine.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Once you stop looking at this threatening message as a whole and you start looking at the goofy individual letters, like the bright colors and the silly fonts, the threat completely vanishes.
It does.
By playing with the spelling of the word, pointing out that END is right there at the front, she breaks the word's spell over her, like taking apart a terrifying machine into harmless little gears and screws.
This raises an important question for all of us, really, about how the language we use shapes our reality. It taps into the idea of linguistic framing.
Linguistic framing, yeah.
The words we internalize can act as invisible prisons.
Yeah.
If you label a situation an endurance test, you automatically cast yourself as the sufferer. You don't have a choice.
Right. You're just the victim of the test.
Exactly. But Manda uses logic and wordplay. She literally says, in parentheses in the lyrics, I can see the reason in that, as a tool for emotional regulation. She isn't just writing poetry here. She is performing psychological surgery.
Psychological surgery. I really, really like that framing.
She is deliberately stripping the fear and the overwhelming weight from the concept of endurance. By turning the word into a puzzle, like a simple anagram to be solved, she takes back her cognitive control.
Because it's no longer a mandate, it's just a word.
Yes. Once you realize you can take a word apart, you realize you can take the societal rule behind it apart too. That is why she can so confidently declare, firstly, I will end the thought that I must endure. She has effectively neutralized the threat by exposing its artificial construction.
So if she has successfully spat out the bitter thought, recognized that chronic endurance is a trap, and completely dismantled the word itself, Well, she is left with a bit of a void, isn't she?
She is, yeah.
And nature hates a vacuum. If she's no longer relying on her old defense mechanism of silently enduring life, what is she replacing it with? And this is where the pivot happens in the song.
Yes. She transitions from a state of defense, which is rejecting the thought, to a state of offense, which for her is creating art.
The lyrics shift beautifully here. She writes, "I will change my mind thought by thought travel to new horizons filled with song. And then I will fly on notes and words construct new horizons just for me."
It's very empowering.
It is, but I have a driving question about the actual mechanics of this. How exactly does the physical act of making a song close this emotional episode for her?
That's a great question.
We know what she's doing creatively, but how does the act of making a song neurologically or psychologically metabolize that trauma?
It all comes down to shifting brain states. It's about moving from a passive victim to an active architect. When you are passively enduring, your amygdala, which is the brain's fear and emotional processing center, is highly activated.
Right, you're just in survival mode.
You are in a reactive survival state. The world is acting upon you. But when you sit down to create structure, to write lyrics, find rhymes, and compose a melody, you are forcing your prefrontal cortex to engage.
Because you're organizing information, you're actively solving problems.
Exactly. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for executive function, planning, logic, all of that.
Yeah.
You are physically pulling yourself out of the emotional flood and putting yourself back in the driver's seat.
So the art is literal regulation.
Yes. Manda isn't just writing about finding a new horizon. The notes and words are the horizon. Songwriting is her literal vehicle for emotional transposition.
Wow.
She is taking the raw, chaotic anger of being held down, that messy, subjective feeling, and she is transforming it into structured, melodic momentum.
And music itself has a physiological regulating effect, doesn't it? Like separate from the lyric.
It absolutely does. Rhythm mimics a steady heartbeat. A song structure, verse, chorus, bridge, it provides predictability.
Right.
By imposing these musical rules that she alone dictates, she proves to her nervous system that she is safe and in control. The art itself is the cure because it is the physical manifestation of her agency.
She is literally building the path she's walking on using notes and words. She sings, "No, I will never go back. Neither will I stay. I will move forward every day." That active momentum carries us directly into the final emotional peak of the song, where she establishes a brand new baseline of psychological balance.
And we see exactly what that balance looks like in what she chooses to replace the heavy concept of endurance with.
Yes, she writes, "I can still breathe and give thanks, so I will do that instead of endure."
It's so beautiful.
It is such a quiet, grounded realization, just breathing and being thankful. But it is instantly contrasted by the blunt force of the song's chorus, which is this highly repetitive, rhythmic release.
Right, the bugger that.
Yeah, she goes, "I won't go back. No, no, bugger that, booger that." So what does this all mean? I just marvel at the contrast here.
It's a huge shift in tone.
You have this deep philosophical wordplay and complex cognitive deconstruction earlier in the song, and then she pairs it with the wonderfully blunt colloquial release of simply shouting, "Bugger that!"
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of how human beings process emotional conflict, that contrast makes perfect sense. Think about what happens when you finally resolve a massive internal struggle.
Right.
You don't stay in a heightened, tense state of philosophical analysis forever.
Right. You exhale.
You exhale, exactly. Replacing the heavy, impossible burden of endurance with the simple present acts of breathing and gratitude shows complete psychological equilibrium.
Because she's not fighting it anymore.
No, she is no longer fighting the concept. She has transcended it. And the phrase bugger that acts as the ultimate immovable boundary,
It's a protective wall that doesn't ask for permission.
that is exactly why informal language works so well for setting boundaries. Bugger that doesn't invite debate.
Right, it's not a negotiation.
Exactly. It doesn't require a philosophical defense or a detailed explanation to anyone else. It is simply a locked door. She has done the complex, exhaustive inner work to dismantle the toxic expectation, and now she doesn't need to over-explain herself to the world.
She can just say, "Bugger that," and keep moving toward her newly constructed horizon.
Exactly.
It is such a satisfying journey. It is a masterclass in using art, not just to express pain, but to process it, metabolize it, and move past it.
It really is.
Just to briefly recap what we've walked through today, we started with Manda tasting the bitterness of a heavy societal expectation, the demand to silently endure. She didn't politely swallow it, she spat it out.
Right.
She analyzed it and realized that enduring is often just a chain dragging us backward. She used her intellect to dismantle the very logic of the word endure, finding the end at the front of it.
Yeah.
And then instead of sitting in the void, she built a brand new emotional horizon using notes, words, and a defiant, joyful boundary.
And for you listening, this is where Manda's deeply personal journey intersects with your own. We all have our own chain of challenges.
I do.
I encourage you to reflect on where you might be forcing yourself to simply endure situations, relationships, or expectations
Yeah.
that are actually draining your life force. Where are you letting endurance drag you back instead of moving forward? Sometimes the things we tell ourselves we must bravely survive are actually things that simply require us to set a firm boundary.
This has been such an incredible exploration of Bugger That by Manda Menzies. We want to leave you with a final, lingering question to mull over on your own. We saw how Manda found the end at the front of Endure, proving that the words and concepts we blindly accept actually shape our reality.
They absolutely do.
So what commonly praised virtue in your own life? Maybe it's hustle, perfectionism, or always being the strong one. Might you secretly need to take apart, evaluate, and finally say, bugger that too, in order to truly move forward?